Yes, it appears all the witches are coming home, as it has been confirmed that almost the entire cast of American Horror Story Coven are returning for American Horror Story Lucky Number 13. But let's be honest, not many of you have seen past, seasons 5, 6, 7? Considering the comments on my other AHS videos, I sometimes feel like the only one that's still watching, and it's tough getting through some of these seasons. But with the news of this cast, including Ariana Grande, mind you, and rumours this may be the final season, Legacy fans are going to want to come back to see their favourites, without having to watch 100 episodes of television beforehand. So that's where my hours of work in the trenches watching every season and 15 spin-off episodes comes in handy. So join me as I fill you in on everything you need to know before returning to Miss Robichaux's Academy.
You're watching Matthew Rogers.
Now, I am just assuming that we're returning to the world of Coven, considering its pop cultural impact, not to mention this cast announcement. Jessica Lange, Sarah Paulson, Evan Peters, Angela Bassett, Kathy Bates, Emma Roberts, Gabourey Sidibe, joined by two other returning stars from other seasons, Billie Lourd and Leslie Grossman. Ryan Murphy is of course known for reeling stars back in for different characters, sometimes multiple characters in the same season. But we have seen the witches return once before in season 8. Ariana now has the role of Glinda under her belt. Witchful thinking, perhaps. However, Ryan Murphy has commented on AHS 13 saying, "Naughty pine forever," which I think is a good place for us to start. It has been 12 years after all. So Coven ends with Cordelia Fox becoming the new Supreme after resurrecting Zoe and completing the trials of the Seven Wonders. Myrtle Snow is burned at the stake for her past crimes. Madison Montgomery is killed by Kyle after refusing to resurrect her earlier. Queenie and Zoe help Cordelia open the Coven's doors, welcoming new witches around the world. Fiona Good dies and ends up in her own personal hell, trapped in a farmhouse with the Axeman and forced to relive a dull domestic life forever.
What is this? Naughty pine!
But let's jump forward a few seasons. Freak Show combined murder, music, and an extremely sad backstory for one of our favourites from Asylum. Season 5 had us checking into Lady Gaga's version of the Cecil Hotel. Roanoke gave us a fictional reality show which later turned the fictional actors into the reality stars, before we joined Evan Peters' cult in season 7, focusing on the very real American horror story. So season 8, Apocalypse, which may very well play into this new season, mashes season 1's Murder House and Coven into one chaotic end of days season. Starting with the world being destroyed by nuclear bombs, the survivors then hide in an underground bunker, Outpost 3, which is ran by the Antichrist Michael Langdon. It's soon revealed that he's the grown son of Tate Langdon and Vivian Harmon from Murder House. Michael rises in power, passing tests that show he's more powerful than any witch, but to contrast Cordelia's vision of light and hope, his purpose is pure destruction. The witches, Cordelia, Madison, Myrtle, and the resurrected Coven crew return to stop him, knowing he's responsible for wiping out humanity. They work with time-travelling witch Mallory to rewrite history. Billie Lourd also being confirmed to be returning for this new season, by the way. To end the season, Mallory goes back in time and runs Michael over in a car before he can start the apocalypse. Jessica Lange's Murder House character Constance Langdon refuses to let her grandson die in the murder house, so he can't live forever. Her reasoning being the evil acts he'd already committed, playing with life and death, but now his death resets the timeline. We now change pace altogether, and attempt to ground the series after the high stakes of Apocalypse with Season 9, 1984. Not much to say about this season, as it's just your typical summer camp slasher. Didn't really add anything, was a bit forgettable and had no real connection to the rest of the show, especially since it was set before the events of the season before it. Maybe the most standalone season there is, apart from season 11, which I'll get to shortly. In my opinion, the best part of season 9 is the opening titles. Season 10, double feature. They couldn't write a season-length story apparently due to COVID, so they released 2 limited standalone series instead, Red Tide and Death Valley. Part 1, Red Tide, follows a struggling writer who moves his family to Provincetown. He discovers a black pill called the Muse that turns anyone with talent into a creative genius, but anyone without talent into insatiably bloodthirsty, pale people. Of course, the family unravels, and by the end, his daughter Alma fully embraces the monstrous side, killing him and heading to Hollywood to feed both her ambition and her hunger. Part 2, Death Valley, jumps to a sci-fi Area 51 setting. It mixes black and white 1950s flashbacks with a modern alien conspiracy. Eisenhower and Nixon, yes, the presidents, are drawn into a secret pact with extraterrestrials after a UFO crash, leading to decades of hybrid experiments. In present day, a group of college friends gets abducted and both the girls and the guys are impregnated with alien hybrids, which is part of a conspiracy to repopulate Earth. That season ends with the hybrids completing that mission. I highly doubt either of these parts will play into any new season, so let's keep it moving to season 11, NYC. And oh boy, this season took a complete 180 and used the very real horrors of the 1980s AIDS crisis. The villain being a kinky, brutal, and relentless personification of the disease whose name was, wait for it, Big Daddy. Not really much to say about this season, as it was understandably but unnaturally quite serious. It didn't really feel entirely appropriate in tone for a season of American Horror Story, and probably would have been better suited as a standalone show, but anyway. Now we're going from that to introducing Kim Kardashian in season 12, Delicate, which centers on a famous model named Anna, who discovers she's been secretly implanted with a demon baby to win an Oscar. The season mixes body horror, dark satire, and conspiracy, kind of like the movie The Substance, but instead of sacrificing age, it was pregnancies manipulated by a Kardashian. Doesn't make much sense? Yeah. So that's the mainline series covered, but what about the spin-offs? Now I've done multiple videos on these quote-unquote stories, each standalone spin-offs with the AHS label slapped on the tin. But the strongest reference to this main timeline comes from the first 2 episodes of Season 1, Rubber Woman Parts 1 and 2, set in the infamous Season 1 murder house yet again, the existence of which implying the Langdons and the Coven still exist in the same continuity. All this to say, if you're going into Season 13 relatively blind, really all you need to take note of is these main timeline points mentioned here. Surely they'll know that they have many returning viewers who aren't completely up to date, but if they keep it to if you know references rather than having to watch 8-hour lore videos beforehand, I think you'll be okay. Maybe they'll do an entirely standalone season and you've wasted 8 minutes watching this video, but surely this will be the big send-off for the show as a whole. They haven't confirmed a season 14 as of yet, but how could they possibly have an act to follow Jessica Lange coming out of retirement yet again after saying this about returning?
Oh Christ, no.
I would have loved to have seen that paycheck. American Horror Story Season 13 is set to release next Halloween, October 31st, 2026. Until next time, you can keep up with what I'm watching by following me on TikTok, Twitter, and Letterboxd, which are all linked in the description. But for now, this is Matt Rogers, and that is all.